everyone to another episode of the Definitive Crusade. Thanks to the great success of the UCPN Comic Crusaders Virtual Con, we've decided to make every podcast video. Hey guys, it's us again. That's right. Joining me from across the pond, we have the random dude, Josh. Josh, how's it going?
Oh, it's going. I'm
It's
tired.
good.
I've been up a lot earlier than I should have been on a Sunday, but you know, it is what it is.
Is it beer o'clock?
No, it was work o'clock today.
Harsh. Also joining us from an undisclosed location on an undisclosed Earth, probably Earth 13 on this guy. It is the 13th Crusader. 13th, how's it going, man?
It's going well, and thanks for telling everyone exactly which Earth I'm from. But it's fine.
They're not going to get there. I mean, that's taking social distancing to like the next level.
Always be prepared.
Well, I thought it was the Marvel 13th dimension, but
No.
oh, shit, I should have said that. Damn it.
No. There's no way 13 reads Marvel books. No.
So, I'm fine, guys. How are you doing?
Well, you know, I'm glad to see you put your armor back on. I was wondering if we were going to get another hour of staring at the Batawang, but apparently we are not, so thank you for that.
No problem. I just had to air the armor out that day.
It's because we're not PG-13 today. So
Yeah, we didn't want to have any swamp bat smell going on.
Exactly.
In the eye. Okay.
We can get a little steamy in the cave sometimes.
Have you noticed, Josh? Check it out.
I'm glad to see the beard is coming back. Don't ever do that again.
We'll see.
Well,
all right. So,
I think Mrs. Hughes will have something to say about that.
You should hear your next suggestion. I'm just leaving that there. You might see it in a couple of weeks. You never know. Right. I dread to think. All right. So let's start off at the top. This week, DC have made a couple of announcements. First up, new comic book days returning to DC Comics as of April the 28th. Well done. You will be able to get Batman 89, the third printing. Why that's on the pudding, I have no idea. It's crazy.
But I have the original of that.
Me too.
Same here.
And I flipped one. So
Was that a punchline or?
Why do we invite him back?
Stay out of his blast zone.
You're the one that hit redial. I just picked up.
God damn it. So on that note, there's a raft of books coming out, a couple of second prints, a couple of third prints. It's good to see them getting new comic book shops. New comic books out into shops, I should say. You guys looking forward to it?
I am.
Yeah.
I'll say yes, but I have a lot of qualms with how the whole mess with distribution in the first place. I have a lot of comments on that.
Well, it can't be any worse than Doomsday Clock's release schedule.
No. I just think it's logistically stupid to rely on one single distributor. And it took for us to get to a crisis, no pun intended on the DC podcast, to realize that it was a bad idea the entire time. It makes no logistical sense whatsoever. So I actually applaud DC for saying, you know what? Something isn't working. And now we're going to have two distributors. And let's hope that despite the current crisis that's going on, some people will be able to get their books because some shops are still operating to some capacity. Other shops are not. So I like it, and I'm also concerned because what about those individuals that are nowhere near a comic shop or don't know where to go? So you don't want to leave those people out in the dark.
Yeah, and this is a great jumping on point, just to sort of like reiterate some of the facts you've mentioned there. DC are going with two Dos. Check my Spanish out. Dos.
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 I don't think you could have said that any whiter.
Really? Why am I getting the shit today? That's harsh. And so we're going with two new distributors for comic books. That's not to say that Diamond's going out of print or out of distribution market. It's just DC are kind of edging the bets, I guess. Josh?
I mean, it's going to create I think, a healthy competition in the market for distribution. I like what 13 said about, it's going to allow for other comic book shops to be able to get their books. I do think they need to have a better plan for people who don't have comic book shops around, whether that's ordering directly from dccomics.com or something. There should have been a contingency plan. God, I feel like this was all put together by the Lantern Corps.
So,
I was thinking more Inferior 5, but who's
I mean, I guess you could order your books from Amazon, and then have it shipped to you that way.
Well, you got to think, that's all right for you guys in the States.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, you're screwed.
Oh, thanks. I'll just leave. I'll leave now. Say bye. Yeah, so, I mean, I looked at setting up a comic book shop a couple of years back, and in the UK, there is only one distributor, and that's Diamond.
Mm-hmm.
And that's down in Manchester, so or thereabouts. So it's a case of a secondary and I guess a third publisher. Distributor. It doesn't matter to me that much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a solution. You got every celebrity going on Twitter right now, singing and dancing and doing all these videos. They're celebrities that collect comic books, so maybe some of them will be nice and generous and read the comic books to you online for your enjoyment.
Why did we invite him back?
You hit redial.
I'd like to note this is your idea. I mean, I'm just here for the ride.
So guys,
Thanks, Josh.
Trust me, I love having you here.
Yeah, it's good fun. It's good fun. So the I guess the issue is it's all right, the idea, but you've got to remember back in the day, Marvel launched Heroes World as a competition for distribution rights. And where did that go?
Probably the same dimension that 13's at. We don't know.
Probably how he gets his Marvel books.
They're thriving.
Or crazy idea, why? Because obviously there's going to be distributors in the UK. Why doesn't a company step up? Make a pitch to DC and say, we want to make sure that we're getting these books to all of our fans and readers here in the UK. DC now has an opportunity, like I said, to open up the market, open up the bidding market, and Diamond's going to have to work 10 times harder to bounce back from this. They really screwed the pooch on this. But I think that screwing has helped the industry more because now we have some healthy competition rather than the monopoly that they had.
Cool. As long as I said, distribution is the key, isn't it? To make sure that everybody, not just the big cities, but like the small town stores, they're not exclusive distributors. So does that mean all three? So the two new ones plus Diamond will be carrying DC stock, and it's up to the retailer to place the order with whichever one they get favorable rates with?
Yeah, I mean, have options for store owners to look and see what is best for their demographics, what is best for their store, and then what's going to help the shops make the most profit as well. At that point, then it kind of gives that power to the shop owners of, okay, here's what I want, here's what I need. Go from there. At the end of the day, everyone wins. DC wins, the distributors win, the shops win, and at the end of the day, those three wins mean we all win.
What does that mean for retailer exclusives, though?
That's a shout.
Sooner or later, those will come up at some point. So if I'm on the East Coast and Batman 89 comes out for a 6th printing, let me reword that, a 13th printing.
I was going to say a 6th printing. What the hell are you?
Yeah. And then on the West Coast, they're calling it a 13th printing, but it's different retailer exclusive covers. So will that open up the door for more confusion or much more of an aggressive market among buyers?
I would say a much more aggressive market.
Mm-hmm.
Because then, say, individuals such as yourself, who's wanting to collect all 13th printings of one book, you can, yeah. You could then go online, contact those retailers, and utilize that as well to have that shipped to you. So, again, it opens up the market even more, makes it more competitive.
I have got to admit, I have never felt so guilty in my life than flipping a book when I sold Batman 89. I got a decent price for it, all for that much of a panel. I was like, are you really having my eyes? The guy gave good feedback and everything, but honestly, that much of a panel.
See, I got my copy of Batman 89 at a garage sale for 10 cents. So I don't know about you, but I got the best deal ever.
I got the card stock cover and the standard cover and flipped the standard cover. So
yeah, my LCS held it for me before I even knew what it was. He's like, look, you're going to want to have this book. I put on the side for you because it's starting to skyrocket in price. Mm-hmm. And sure enough.
Cool. Excellent.
Nice.
All right. So on top of that, there's also talk of DC proper returning to press around May time to get more books out. So it looks like they're definitely going ahead with their opening up America strategy. Of the new books that have come out early May, you've got DC Superstars facsimile number 17. 13, why is that one important?
First appearance of the Huntress.
Well, one of the first appearances of the Huntress, yes, indeed. Because there's a controversy on that one. I'm just having a look through the list. You've got some Joker and Harley, Criminal Sanity. Then by May 12th, Harley Quinn, Justice League 44, Justice League Odyssey. I still can't believe they're doing that book. Lois Lane and Metal Man. So I wonder who's writing. Is Dan Didio still on Metal Man now that he's been fired?
I don't know.
Is it worth having a look at that book when it comes out just to check?
No. Yeah. No. I mean, I'd be interested to see if it either improves or if it makes reading Red Hood better.
I think nothing helps that. And on that note, to join in.
I think the latter is true.
Nothing else complicated.
So I guess maybe Didio had already written so much before his departure.
Okay. I was going to say not even reading Supergirl makes Red Hood good. And on that note, we are going to move on to a separate topic. Over on Comic Crusaders, our sister site, we've been running a bit of a new to you comic book day as a different type of way of looking at all the different types of comics that are out there. So we're going to do this DC style. And before we get into it and work out who's our new to you comics, the kind of books that we didn't think much of at the time, but when we picked them up, they actually changed our mind and blew our socks off. Before we get into the various lists of myself, 13th, and Josh, why don't you have a listen to this advert for one of our other podcasts that you can get listening to later this week?
Beyond the world of DC and Marvel, there is a world that opens the imagination in ways that you've never known. The world of indie comics is here, with comic books that you didn't even know existed. Thanks to Dodgy, Al Mega, and the random dude Josh, you too will have your eyes open to new books in the indie comic universe. Check out Flipside Focus, only on the Undercover Capes Podcast Network.
Welcome back to the Definitive Crusade. I am your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes. With me, still, we have Josh.
Still?
Yeah, he hasn't fallen
The way you made that sound, you're like, oh, God, he's still here.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Thankfully here, fighting off sleep from working, we have Josh. And
I'm such an ass.
You said it. Joining us on our ET style phone home, we have the 13th Crusader.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Before we had the break, we talked about the comic books that were new to you at the time, the kind of DC books you thought, nah, I'm not going to be bothered. But then you picked it up, and lo and behold, they absolutely became some of your favorite books. Who should we go? Josh, should we go with you first?
Oh, no, I think our special guest should go first.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn you all to Heroes World.
All right, 13th, there you go. The floor is yours, sir. Fire us away.
New to you. So I'm going to share a story from one of my time traveling adventures. Once upon a time, I bought it in a comic book shop in New York. A book called Red Rain. And the reason why back then was new to me was because at the time I'm like, what? There's no way Batman's a vampire. There's no way that story's going to freaking work out. This is going to be corny. Back then I used to hate zombies and vampires. Until Red Rain, when I started having a little bit of a softer spot for vampires, and then blending that kind of story with Batman. Then Crimson Mist came out, and I was like, well, that's got to be somewhat good, and lo and behold, I still reread it every once in a while.
But vampires and Batman, if Red Rain, as great as it wasn't the first time bats and vampires mixed.
No.
So did you not know what to expect? What was it about the book that kind of then blew you away? Was it the fact that they made the two genres mix, or was it the fact that it was Kelly Jones or Doug Moench? What was the...
Well, the Kelly Jones art is unique.
Oh, and no. Bernie Wrightson.
But yeah, we've seen Batman as a vampire prior to that, but nothing that said, yeah, I can't wait for them to make a Batman vampire graphic novel. So when I picked up Red Rain, I was like, well, I think this was pretty well done. I was expecting more of the same. But with Kelly Jones' art style and the story, I was like, well, I think this is in a different tier.
All right, okay. Off topic, did you read the King of Fear miniseries that came out last year?
I read probably the first couple of issues, and then I'm like, nah.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. Josh?
So mine was, surprisingly enough, the death of Superman. So prior to that, yeah, story time. Prior to that, the only comics I read were Batman. Understandably, that's my favorite superhero. Mm-hmm. But to hear that Superman dies, I'm like, a what? So I get my hands on it and read through it. And that story arc was, at least for me, very captivating from, okay, yes, he's making the ultimate sacrifice, but just something about it being such a historical moment. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, but the panel of Doomsday just laying one into Supergirl and she just goes bleh, bleh. What that panel, I distinctly remember that one over the iconic Lois crying holding Superman after he's defeated Doomsday. Why the Supergirl panel stuck out in my mind, I don't know, but that one just, that would be the one Superman story that I enjoyed, and I don't think anything's going to top that as far as Superman books go.
Okay, cool. So Supergirl at the time was Matrix, was she not? So it wasn't.
Yes.
It wasn't the. It wasn't the like the Kryptonian Supergirl. It was
No. Well, and Lex Luthor during that, if I recall, was Lex Luthor the third.
Yeah.
So he's like ginger hair, ginger beard. He was the grandson of Lex Luthor.
So
something like that.
Yeah.
But that's also that whole story arc is when we get the black suit, and then Superman coming back with long hair. It just high quality 90s.
The mullet.
Yeah, yep. The super mullet.
Great Scott! Look at my mullet.
All right,
but then we also get Superboy, the last son of Krypton, Cyborg, the Man of Steel. I'd pass on that one.
The last son of Krypton to leave Krypton before all the other Kryptonians left.
Exactly. It makes so much sense. So much sense.
All right, okay. So for me, this is I'll go for a bit of a blast in the past. My local comic book shop, I'm sure yours do exactly the same. When they get stock that they can't sell, or they've overordered or whatever, they put them in like 4 comics. The 2 end ones are put so you can see the covers, so you don't see what's in the middle. But then they sellotape them down into a comic book bag. Mm-hmm. So it's like a pick and a mix type thing. And they sell them for £1.50 or $1.50, I suppose. So when you think of it, you're getting 4 books, 2 of which you know what they are for $1.50. Now, to me, that's decent value. So
until they slip Marvel books in the middle.
I don't know. So you can't say that to me. I'm on no prize as well, man. How
That's why I said it.
I don't know. So when I pick up my order, I used to pick my order. It was never as big as it is now, and I'd always thumb through the £1.50 pile just to see if there's on there. And through sheer chicanery and luck, I managed to piece together pretty much 9 issues of the Power Girl series. This is the Jimmy Palmiotti, Amanda Conner, Jude Winnick, Sam Basri, about 24 issues I think there is in total. And it's a character that you kind of know, Power Girl. It's like the alternative Supergirl, but her history is an absolute quagmire of, is she Kryptonian? Is she Atlantean? Her memory's been wiped? Does she know who she is? Blah blah blah. But I thought, you know what? $1.50 for 4 books, 2 of which were Power Girl books. I was like, yeah, that's a fair turnaround. I can't tell you what the other 2 books in the middle are, by the way, but so I ended up buying this series, and from there I bought the back issues, and then threw it on my order as regular, just in time for Flashpoint to come along and ruin it all. Cheers, Flashpoint. So I think it was just the dawn of that kind of tongue-in-cheek style that Palmiotti and Conner were using. Mm-hmm. Because back then it was fun, but it was superheroes, whereas the Harley Quinn stuff they've done is supposedly fun. But there's just chaos. And even when Winnick took over, there was still a level of, I guess, trying to make it different from a super book. Mm-hmm. And I appreciated that. So
it is one of the best Power Girl series there is.
Yeah, definitely. And I think thanks to that, when when World's Finest came out, I was so looking forward to that, and I was so disappointed by that as well.
Now, was that the one book that had the character Fisher that was used in Jeopardy the other day?
It was. Yes,
Fisher
it
Price.
was. Yes, it was.
Fisher Price.
Power Girl number 10. Yeah, it was.
I may have a little Power Girl PTSD from that particular moment.
Buy the book; it's a good read.
It has some of the breast covers.
But on the same token, that's how I also got my Satana collection from that same era. I was buying the £1.50 books, and I managed to piece together about 10 issues as a tenner. So, yeah, there you go.
Magical.
Oh, the breast puns from 13.
I'm all out of beer. It sucks. Right, there you go. Right, so those are our new to you comic books. So if you get a chance to check these out, go check out The Death of Superman. If you are just going to watch the movie, you are missing some really nuanced pieces. There's a whole thing with the Justice League get taken apart, and there's a whole thing afterwards. It's really, Josh is right, it's emotive. It makes you care about Superman. 13's right, Red Rain puts that horror vibe back into comic books. Yeah, Bats has been a vampire before. There's a classic cover. I think it's around, I'm going to say somewhere around the 300s, 350s, something crazy like that, where he's sort of like, he's chasing through all things, all pointy. But the Kelly Jones art, Bernie Wrightson, is spectacular.
It was a very unique design of Batman as well.
Yeah.
Did you like him on the regular Bat book when he took over after Nightfall?
It wasn't bad. I mean, some of the panels were a little wonky, but
Yeah.
I liked him on Nightfall. The art matched the era, but later on.
Now, was that technically Nightfall or was that at Night's End? Because I could hear Johnny's voice in my head saying, "Now that's technically not Nightfall. It's Night's End. Get it right."
Yeah.
Correct.
Kelly Jones didn't come in till after Nightfall. So.
Correct.
I knew what you meant, though.
I'm such an ass.
I thought his art was better suited for John Paul Valley Batman.
I think
when things started writing, when the ship was starting to get righted in the story, I think his art started to fall a little bit.
I think his art's fantastic. I'm not going to diss the guy. What I do find is Bat books of that era with that style of art are very quick reads.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I don't think the mix of art through words is perfect in those books. It's definitely art, which is kind of where the industry was back then. You know, it was all
Right. It's a 90s thing.
Yeah. And of course, then you've got Power Girl, My Shout. You know, you'll be able to get all these on trade. You'll be able to get them from Amazon. You can always go and ring your local comic book shops if they're open, see if they've got them in stock. Go and check them out. It's interesting because those Power Girl books still read really well, still fun. It should be back in the DC universe. That's all I'm saying. Son of a bitch.
Can't win them all.
No, can't win them all. I don't understand why we've got Red Hood and we haven't got a Power Girl. It's just bang out of order.
Because Power Girl's not part of the Bat family. Sorry.
I'm going to say something controversial. I would cut, if DC turned around and said, we're going to knock a Bat book on the head and we're going to give a Power Girl book instead, I'd be like, yeah, do that. Because I tell you what, there's some dodgy books out there. I mean,
Like Metal Men?
No, that Catwoman book. Are you reading Catwoman? Are you reading Catwoman? How? That is such a hard read when you think of the creators involved.
Yeah.
Fantastic covers.
Hard work to read, though. And on that note, we're going to take a step sideways. Josh is still suffering from PTSD regarding Jeopardy.
Even though I won.
You did win. But
So it's a mix of PTSD and hooray.
So back in the day, long-term listeners might remember that 13th used to do this whole thing about who would win, a paper bag or a polythene bag, but with superheroes. So I'm going to hand it over to 13th for a little bit. He's going to run through a number of these, and let's see what we think. I guess, Josh, it's mano a mano, you versus me, man. The 13th.
So it's like the Broncos versus the Dolphins with the Giants sitting on the sideline watching.
It's like the Broncos with the Dolphins, the Guardians combined, and the Vipers, half the XFL league, still couldn't beat the Broncos.
Listen, I've got
the XFL filed. They filed bankruptcy. They're out of the picture.
So I have got NFL Game Pass, and I went back to 2016. You know, when the Dolphins beat the Broncos.
There you go.
Sorry, man. But in return, we got Brock Osweiler for the next year after that, and man, we sucked with him.
Yeah,
so well done, cheers.
Well, that says a lot about the Dolphins management.
Yeah.
Let's get Brock Osweiler, the shittiest backup in the league. Although I will note, he still has a better chance to play than Kaepernick ever will.
Which is, man, I saw we beat the Niners that year as well, and Kaepernick, what a talent. What an absolute talent.
Talent wasted.
Yep.
You got to look at it. I suppose there's two sides to every argument.
When the XFL won't even take you, that's saying something. Or what was the other one? The the Alliance of American Football.
Yeah.
Kaepernick wanted to play for them. They said no. So he went back to his, gonna go take a knee. Tried with the NFL again. Didn't work. XFL comes around. He tries. No.
Is it just a personality thing?
I think it is.
No,
I think it's a personality / it's a PR thing.
Because I mean, at the time, granted, he was probably the most outspoken, but as I say, I'm watching these Game Pass games, and there's as the guys are introduced at the start of the game, you still people. The game's kicked off, and you see the players still coming out of the locker room because they didn't want to do the stand for the anthem thing. So
yeah,
it wasn't
that whole thing was dumb. But we could save that. We could honestly do a football podcast.
Oh yeah,
we'll do that at some point. So
that'd be fun. Anyway, back to who would win.
Who would win? Dolphins.
First and foremost, I want to extend my apologies because I will not be doing a Bruce Buffer imitation as I spit out all these names.
Well, you know what? We'll have the audio guy. He'll fit that in.
Audio guy's going to screw you over.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
So, I have some battles here. You're more than welcome to Google any of the characters that I mention, just for your reference.
Oh, don't worry. It will happen.
Yeah, you're gonna need it. Let's see. All right, let's do a little warm-up. So, this first character first appeared in Adventure Comics number 210, way back in 1955. He's been living a rough life of late. It's none other than Crypto.
The dog.
Super dog. Uh-huh.
Raggy.
Ruh-roh.
Roos.
Now, his opponent is less than perfect, of course. Tickle, Clarion the Witch Boy's cat. First appeared in the Demon number 7 in the 70s. Who you got? I'll start off with you, Johnny.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, son of a bitch. Well.
Good. Excellent.
Here's how it goes. I'm sorry to say, the cat's got this. The cat's got it in the bag. Right? For two things, first of all. Kryptonian. Cat, magic. Magic and Kryptonians do not mix. Everyone talks about how Kryptonite, Superman's Achilles heel. It doesn't do so well against magic either. So, which is why He-Man could kick his ass in the first He-Man crossover way back when in the 80s, when Kal-El found himself on Eternia. So, I'm going with Cat's Got Claws, Pussy for the win.
That's cold-blooded.
You're such a dog, Johnny. All right, Josh. Who you got? Hard to top that one.
This sucks. God damn it. We should have played Jeopardy instead. That would have been better. And I like crypto, but I hate cats, but I have to go with the cat on this one. Because and it really it is the magic aspect. I mean, we've seen how Superman gets his ass kicked with magic. I mean, if we were to do a who would win between Harry Potter and Superman, well, Superman's fucked. So I gotta go with the cat.
There you go. I agree with both of you. Tikal is pretty much the source of power for Clarion. So
yeah,
and the cat can turn into like a big cat beast and etc. So yeah, sorry, Crypto, you're out.
Yeah. Tikal would knock over the glass full of kryptonite just to be an ass. Like.
Mm-hmm. All right. So the next battle. This character appeared in Watchmen #1, Rorschach. I'm going with the original Rorschach here. Okay. So as your mind is flooding with that character's personality and
wait, stop. When you say the original Rorschach, do you mean Rorschach or do you mean the question for who Rorschach is based on? When you're stacking the whole original stuff.
Rorschach from Watchmen #1.
Trying to give some history and depth there, but never mind. Carry on. Rorschach.
His opponent will be the Riddler. Is Rorschach sane enough to take on somebody like the Riddler? Josh, I'll start with you.
I think he is. He's got the determination like nobody's business. Not to mention he's psychotic enough to make the Riddler his bitch.
Do you think it would be that convincing?
I think so, but I don't really care that, Johnny is shaking his head no at me. I'm still going with Rorschach.
Okay, Johnny, what's your counter to that?
Well, I agree with Josh that Rorschach is psychotic. What I don't agree with is Rorschach's got any brains to work anything out.
Okay, so to jump in on that, because of how the Riddler is, how he gets overly annoyed when the stupid people can't figure out even the simplest of riddles, it drives him so mad that he makes stupid mistakes, thus causing Rorschach to come in to kick his ass.
The only way the Riddler would he'd lose to Rorschach is if he actually said, "Look, it's me. Enough's enough." Right? The Riddler is too clever. Rorschach is too dumb to work it out. It took Rorschach how long to solve the Dr. Manhattan problem? And how many people did he have to help along the way? It's like, dude, come on, man. It's like, But
Rorschach was obviously smart enough to ask other people.
Oh, right, okay. So when he comes to me and goes, I'm stuck. What gets wetter the more it dries? What's the answer? I don't know. What could it be?
Stay out of the blast zone.
No, for me, the Riddler has kind of metamorphosized into something a little bit not just kooky. I think he has a level of I'm going to say mental stability to him. He's got a strong element to him. He's not the pushover that everyone thinks he was back in the day. So
no, definitely not.
So I'm going with the Riddler.
Interesting. So that's a tie. So yeah.
I'm going to break the tie.
I could break it, but it wouldn't be fair. I'd say leave it up to the listeners to break it.
Ooh. Okay, so for this moment, listeners, in the comments below, who do you think would win on this one? Break the tie.
Riddle me this, riddle me that.
Yeah, that would be cool. What's Rorschach's reaction going to be when he sees Query and Echo?
Swing.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think there'll be any question at that point. Nope. All right. The next battle I have here two fairly new characters. The Silencer versus Mother Panic. Who you got in this one, Johnny?
I could not care less at this point for these two. These are characters that I have no interest in whatsoever. I am going to go with Mother Panic just because of the fact that Silencer is really just Deadshot. So there you go.
Obvious bias for Gothamites. Josh, who you have?
Hold on. Josh, wake up.
He's thinking. So Silencer first appeared in Silencer #1.
Really?
Yeah, just trying to speed up your Google search.
Oh no, I'm good. Okay. This is going to take a very different approach, but I'm sorry, assassins in DC Comics have never done well, ever. Mother Panic takes the win.
Very well, unanimous, and agreed.
I don't need to know anything. The moment I saw with the Silencer that she's an assassin, I'm like, nope. I mean, Deadshot sucks. Deathstroke, he's an assassin, always loses. The League of Assassins, constantly getting beat and outsmarted by bats.
Cheshire.
You look at, we'll even take Copperhead from Arkham Origins. She was an assassin, and you got to beat her ass in that game. So I'm sorry, when it comes to assassins, they're always going to lose.
Malcolm Merlin.
Give me an assassin that really actually does the job.
I might have one later on. All right. So the next battle. This will be a magical one. Zatanna and John Constantine together versus an obscure character, Dr. Chaos. You can Google that one.
I'm going to have to on that one.
Yeah, Josh, I'll start with you on that. Dr. Chaos, there's been a couple of versions of this character, but the one I want to stick with is the original version that came out pre-Crisis, Superboy Volume 2, number 25. Just to put it short, Dr. Chaos is basically a bad as an evil Dr. Fate.
Okay.
He has a helmet of chaos. Very, very underused character, but he does exist.
I'd have to go with Dr. Chaos on this one.
So you've never heard of Dr. Chaos until now?
No, I have.
Okay.
So the reason why I say that, Zatanna would be obviously leading the charge. John Constantine would either be distracted by Zatanna in the fishnets, respectfully, or he'd be drunk and pissed off about something else. Half of the battle that those two are going to have to deal with is just working together. Yes, they've been able to work together in other books, but at the end of the day, Constantine is still a senile douche. So I think that's where Dr. Chaos does have the one up on them, aside from the fact that he lives by chaos.
So I agree with you with Zatanna and Constantine working well outside the panels. I agree. That was a bad joke. All right, Johnny, who do you have in this one?
Right. Okay. So my original thought would be Dr. Chaos for the win, because somewhere along the line, John Constantine will do something stupid. Yeah, because he's selfish. He's kind of what he wants and stuff like that. But unfortunately, when it comes to Constantine, there is a little soft chink in his armor for Zatanna, right? And I've just got to ask this question real quick. Which Zatanna version are we talking about? Are we talking current Justice League Dark? Are we talking classic look? Are we talking the the 2000 look with the thigh highs? What are we talking about? Which one?
You could bring the most powerful version of Zatanna.
All right, so that's the...
Would it even be enough? And Constantine's no slouch, and he's never been.
So for me, I'm going to go with Zatanna because she's got enough in the powers to keep Constantine under the cosh, and her magic is chaos magic as well. Maybe not as strong as the chaos as opposed to the magic of the Order from Dr. Fate, but she is renowned in all other aspects. Fair enough, she uses backwards magic more than any, but she knows all the other stuff as well. So yeah, Zatanna for the fishnets. Fishnets always for the win. It's me.
You're gonna hate me, but I gotta agree with Josh.
Okay.
It's basically Dr. Fate with a helmet that's for chaos.
This is the Dr. Fate that's currently a kid, right? That's how strong he is, right?
No.
Yeah.
So this version of Dr. Chaos.
Oh, so you picked... Oh, okay,
Yeah, no, I said it earlier.
Oh, you did.
The Dr. Chaos. He's
Uh-huh.
basically Dr. Fate, reversed.
Yeah, so he's basically a kid. All right, okay, cool.
Makes him one of the most powerful sorcerers in the DC universe prior to
Which
Crisis.
is why we've never heard of him for the last 30-odd years. In fact, that's a lie. He was in the last Justice Society of America.
That is correct.
Good.
That is correct. In fact, there were two other Dr. Chaoses, but...
Zatanna, fishnets for the win every time. Sorry.
All right.
Don't hate
Moving on. Here's an assassin if you pay him to be one. Can Lobo take out Orion the New God? I'll start with you, Johnny.
Ooh, that's a tricky one. Orion doesn't have... Does Orion have super healing powers?
I don't know. You tell me.
You tell me.
I can, but I mean, I don't want to spoil the fun for our listeners.
I'll give you a short answer. Yes.
See.
So it's one of those. Let's have a quick. Thanks, man. Powers, immortality, super strength, speed, available juice.
Orion's a new god. He's a god, so immortal. You know that he's stupid strong.
He's stupid.
Like more stupid strong than Superman.
Exactly, and he has access to new god technology.
I think this is a tie. Because whilst Orion is immortal and he's got his healing factor, Lobo has his own healing factor as well. So Lobo's had his head blown off, regenerates. The only thing that would get Lobo would if you kill his space dolphins. But unless you've got cheap space Broncos, that ain't going to happen anytime soon.
Space Broncos, for real?
Yeah. Denver wouldn't build a new stadium. They need the thinner air to get that ball traveling.
Jeez. All right, Josh, who do you have in this one? So Johnny says it's a tie.
So I'd have to go with Orion. Because, yes, while both have the healing factor, both are stupid strong. Some are more stupid than others. Orion's got the one up with the Astral Force. I mean, the fact that power in itself can be compared to the Omega effect.
When you say Astro Force, do you mean banging on trash cans or?
Oh, wow. That was quite the curveball. No, the power like that. We take Darkseid with his Omega beams. It's kind of the same aspect. It allows that precision. It's got that power behind it that I think would honestly take out Lobo.
No other counters to that, Johnny? You're still going to stick with a tie?
Yeah, I am.
All right. Well, by default, it'll be Orion. Because a tie is not an answer.
All right, okay. All right.
I mean, it is, but how would you count it?
Well, Johnny did mention that, if you kill the space dolphins, it Lobos out. So use the Astro Force to kill those.
There you go. We'll work with that. Perfect.
Get them where it hurts.
All right.
By the way, Johnny, I'd like to note this is your idea.
I know, it's fine. I'm taking on the chin. It's fine. It's fine. I'm amazed you even agreed with me once.
Taking it on the chin is part of the blast zone. All right.
Your aim is terrible if you hit my chin, dude.
How many times has Mrs. Hughes told you that?
That's still like a great pickup line. Hey, baby. Welcome to the blast zone.
I would pity whoever you picked up with that line.
All right. Next battle. You're going to love this one, Johnny.
To Kyle later.
All right. So I might be bending the rules slightly of this podcast.
Oh, here we go. A Marvel character. I told you he's in a Marvel.
Well,
I bet it's Indy.
It's Dark Claw and Sparrow. Remember the amalgam characters? Batman, Wolverine, Jubilee, Robin mashup versus Deathstroke and Ravager, the Rose Wilson Ravager. So who you got in that one, Josh?
Oh, I gotta go with Dark Claw.
No question.
No question.
No hesitation.
Nope. None. Not a zip, zilch. And I do that simply because I know Johnny's also going to disagree with me in about 2.2, or actually, let me rephrase that. He's about to disagree with me in 13 seconds. Let the time go.
I agree with Josh.
What the hell?
Right, we're talking about this is Deathstroke. Deathstroke, who Batman beats regularly.
That's true. It goes back on my assassin bit.
So, whilst it's a tough battle, I'll give you that, all you Deathstroke fans. What I will say is that Batman beats Deathstroke normally. You then give him Wolverine's regenerative powers and the old snickety snicked. Really? Do I need to say any more?
So how quickly will Sparrow go down?
That's what she said.
Before the Deathstroke?
Before the sync is done.
Jeez, that's a Ravager. All right. My final battle. Batman versus Lucifer Morningstar at chess. Who wins? Johnny, I'll start with you. In a game of chess, if it depended on it, to save someone he loves from going to hell, can Batman beat Lucifer in a game of chess?
Yes. Of course he can. He's Batman.
Just because he's Batman. Give me some substance to that.
Oh, all right. So hold
Everybody says because he's Batman.
No, all right, okay. I'm going to do the substance thing. All right. Okay. So he's a master strategist. He has got, he's used to multitasking and looking at different avenues to take on a villain. He's looking at layers upon layers. He's prepared for practically anything, when it comes to analyzing information, he's pretty much up there. They say that Mr. Miracle's the third smartest guy in the DC universe. Mr. Terrific, sorry, thank you. Mr. Terrific's the third smartest guy in the DC universe. Who are the first two?
Humans.
Yeah, who are they though?
That would be Batman, obviously number one, Lex Luthor number two.
Right, so you're talking about someone who can go toe-to-toe from a strategy point of view with Lex Luthor and Mr. Terrific, and has strategy upon strategy upon strategy upon strategy. No, There you go.
What do you think, Josh? The devil comes to Gotham for a game of chess, for high stakes chess. Can Batman outwit him?
No. For this reason, while they're both expert strategists and things like that, the one thing that Lucifer has that unfortunately Bruce Wayne does not is time manipulation. He can use the time manipulation to look ahead, see what Bruce is going to do, and plan it out from there.
But Batman is so prepared, he knows that that's what Lucifer's going to do. So he'll then do his second choice. He's not sitting there like Doctor Strange checking out 4 million possible views for just the...
No. But as we've seen in other versions, all Lucifer would have to say is Martha, and game's over.
See, the thing is, this Martha thing, I'm all right with the Martha thing. Nobody bitches when Captain America goes Bucky in Endgame and it stops the fight, does it?
Well,
no one says anything about that, is it? No. So the Martha thing is just historical DC being lazy, not thinking it through back in 1939.
What do you think of a storyline like that? Catwoman, known for years and decades as a villain, right? Nowadays, maybe more of an anti-hero, maybe even a hero, but she dies. What if she goes to hell? And then Lucifer comes up and goes to Bruce Wayne and says, if you beat me at chess, I'll help you get her out of hell.
Well, Lucifer would have to come and say, you've beat me at chess and I will get her out of hell. Because if Lucifer says, I will help you, Bats is like, I've got no incentive, because you know what? I know John Constantine and Satana. They'll help me as well. So, dude, to you.
Really? You revert to them? Shit, get the Winchester brothers from Supernatural. That's a Warner Brothers property. They could interject them.
Oh. Yeah, Batman.
Screw it, Tickle. You'll be the new Catwoman.
There you go.
And that's all I got for the battles.
Excellent. There you go. Yeah, it's a nice change of pace. So that's it for this week's pod. You've had an up-to-date with some DC news. You've had some new-to-you comic book stuff. And you've had me and Josh literally going head-to-head over who will win what battles. All that's left for me to say, I guess, is thanks to Josh, who's pulling his face at my ramblings. Thanks, Josh.
No, it was, you said head-to-head, and with all the blast zone jokes and hitting the chin, my mind's in the gutter.
That's called a silencer. She was part of the first.
Thank you for the 13th Crusader for taking some time. And
thanks for having me, guys.
Battles.
It's been fun.
Excellent. I've been your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes. I will say this last thing. Freyja, happy birthday. You've been missed today. It would have been fun having you on. You better save me some cheesecake.
Feliz cumpleaños.
Happy birthday.
So I hope you had a good time. And for everybody else, don't forget to check out the UCPN for all your favorite podcasts, including No Price Podcast, Josh,
Flipside Focus, Cinema Crusaders,
Outside the Panels, and of course, check out YouTube for the Virtual Con, where you get to talk to and see loads of different comic creators if you haven't already done so. So, this is the Machine Hughes saying adios.